Well, hey guys, this whole COVID-19 thing came upon us just really suddenly. I just want to let you know how it's affecting me as a church audio tech. So it's Thursday, March 19th, and it was, I think, exactly a week ago, at least where I live, where this whole thing just completely blew up. Until then, it was just sort of, yeah, make sure you wash your hands and whatever else, and then all of a sudden, we're in the midst of a full-blown international crisis. And suddenly everything has to change. It's actually interesting. I was in the midst of actually setting up a brand new mixing board and actually working really hard, all these extra hours. And sad to say, because of that, I actually got myself just a tiny little bit sick. So hence I'm shooting this from my home office, even though I think it's of course just a little cold. Yeah, so even though I'm working from home, I'm showered and shaved. And I remember there's a scripture that says, they found him dressed and in his right mind, and they were all amazed. And I think that people think that of me just kind of any day. So, especially at home, I got to make sure I do what I can. But I want to start by first of all talking about the attitude we need to have towards this, and that our church has towards this. And I'm so glad that we do. It's quite often in the times of a major upheaval that people are actually more open to Christ, more open to the gospel. Sometimes people put their lives into a bit of perspective. And maybe they wonder, okay, why do I value life so much? Other people otherwise might say they support things that don't value life. Now all of a sudden they really value their own life. And they might think of eternity, they might think about what happens when they die. And I think this might be a great opportunity. I actually think there might be one of the greatest opportunities we might even have as a church. And then there's this really interesting thing that happened with us as a Church of the Rock. So our operations pastor, Dwayne, about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4, walked into our area, our production area, and he had this really clear word from God that the next move of God was going to really heavily involve the tech department. And he told us that, and we thought, okay, that's nice, that's cool, yeah, sounds good, and didn't think much of it. And then all of a sudden, yeah, 3 weeks after that, this whole thing blows up, and we actually all kind of forgot about the word until one of us went, wait a minute, there was that word from Dwayne, and went, wow, God. He saw this coming. And he said it was going to be a move of God. So not that, of course, God caused any of this, but God's going to move through this in a really powerful and significant way. So I think if we can keep our heart right, keep our eyes right, I think we can be a major part of a major move of God. I think we need to have hope, joy, wisdom, and faith, but we don't need to have fear. Because what can happen to us? Like even if, not to be over the top, but even if we should die, we get to be part of heaven with Christ, but we're not going to. It's not even going to come to that. So we have no reason to have any kind of fear, but we can have a way of presenting the gospel in new and interesting ways. So with us, we had our last service this last Sunday. We only had about a third of the people who normally come out. We definitely had the social distancing. People were sitting quite far apart from each other. We had all kinds of excessive disinfecting going on. And then it was decided, of course, right after that, no, we need to go fully just to online services. So there's going to be quite a bit of extra demands on our team. And I really feel bad that I'm here at home when I should be with them, really fighting the fight. That's why I'm doing whatever I can do from home and supporting them whichever way I can do. I really even have a sense that there's going to be stuff we develop and do in this time that's going to affect how we do church going forward. And that's what a lot of people have that sense. And yeah, and so do I. So even yesterday I was part of a all-staff meeting that they were streaming online. So even now we're doing all of our all-staff meetings, everything online, just to make sure everyone can participate.
You know, Tim said to Mars earlier today, oh, maybe we shouldn't be sharing a water bottle anymore. I said to him, if that's your closest point of contact in your marriage, there's other issues there. Where is Tim?
So yeah, I'm picking up a personal monitor that stopped working. I got fixed at Sound Art, and they're a Manitoba company that does a lot of big concerts, but they also do repairs. They do some church install stuff, and so I'm a tiny bit sick. So I still have to take all these precautions. First we discussed maybe just them throwing it in my window as I drove past, but they decided instead just to leave it on the edge of an amp. I'll walk in, grab it, walk out with the invoice, and that'll be that. So there we go. Hey there. Just picking up that MU1 and the invoice. Perfect. Ah, right here. All right, thanks, Alan. I'll try not to touch anything else. All right, take care. So gas is $73.9. Have you ever seen that? Not since I was a teenager. Well, another place with a completely bare rack of toilet paper. And another store with an empty shelf of toilet paper. So I started feeling better almost immediately, so clearly I didn't have COVID, and yet obviously didn't. So the first thing I gotta do when I get back is sanitize all the mics, and if you've never done it before, you know, it's an experience you should really have. And there's also a fair bit of food particles that comes out of it, so yeah, just fair warning. So we were wanting to videotape Kids Rock and other ministries and be able to mix the audio in our broadcast room, so we have to run a bunch of extra cables for that.
We're good for this weekend.
And of course we were meeting really far apart. Maybe took it further than we had to. Did some audio training because we just got the mixing board, and of course that was also socially distanced.
Whatever you do, don't cough when the camera's on you. It's going to look terrible. Just to tickle in your throat. Hold it in at any cost. And the camera goes away.
The mics are all taken apart and sanitized, put back together, gloves, so yeah.
Wow.
There we go.
Thank you.
Tech team has taken great care of us. Thank you, you guys. Appreciate that.
There's also now that's food particles in the mic, so you can be thankful for that as well.
The mics are a little bit louder than the usual.
Got volume from this? You don't want too much house volume.
Not much at all.
5 seconds.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, church, and welcome to Church Online. So here we are, we're coming to you live. We've got the musicians with us, and they're all appropriately spaced. You'll probably notice that. And we're bringing church right into your house.
We've all gotten used to it now, but the first time worshiping in an empty room was really quite strange.
Thank you, worship team. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And you defile the land. It will vomit you out.
I realized Pastor Mark had a bit of a hard time preaching to an empty room. He loves that response from the audience.
Those that are in the mental depression. I mean, they don't have a choice. They can't flee from this. They can't stay home.
It was so weird not having to get up at 6 in the morning to get ready to either mix or lead volunteer teams at the church, and it was fun to kind of be in the house coat and just host the online services.
They did all of these things that changed. It was like nature vomited them out and then hit the reset button. And so here's what I think. I don't think this is the end of the world. I don't think we should treat it like this is the end of the world.
First week, of course, everything froze up terribly. I guess we broke the internet as a church.
Hitting the reset button.
Okay, so we're clear on that.
And so we started shooting everything during the week, and my tech director Chuck directed, and a bunch of staff manned the cameras.
If you turn towards it, he'll just go to a full screen graphic. Okay.
We were doing things from announcements to devotionals to prayer things and classes.
But in the meantime, before we're gonna start with worship.
And I started doing just a ton of broadcast mixing because we were trying to keep the volunteer load as low as possible, and of course our broadcast mix has now become our more important mix.
Take it away, guys.
So, Father, we love you. We ask you to be with us.
And even I forget the reverb on sometimes.
Participating online. and just be with us as we worship you in Jesus' name.
And so we started shooting our kids programming, and it's definitely a lot of fun to shoot. They do a lot of fun and extra stuff. Got to learn some extra shots. Really happy with how this one turned out.
Oh, hey, Sheba.
And here's the end result.
I've been training for this all morning. I need to get this message to Alfie.
I slightly missed the shot here, but it still looks pretty good.
Oh, hey, Sheba.
And yeah, just did a ton of editing. Everything from announcements, pastors' devos, all those things we mentioned, all needed to be edited. Had some 12, 13 hour days editing, which I'm sure a lot of you have as well. Hard to believe this is Sunday morning. And Easter got interrupted. We had planned to do Easter. I have become somehow the photographer since I know how to use a camera a little bit. We did walkthroughs, and it was decided fairly early that we had to actually cancel Easter because our whole point was to bring in thousands of people for the gospel to reach them. I just shot this to show you how shaggy my hair got in over 2 months. So that was just a little snapshot of what's been going on during this COVID-19 crisis. Clearly there's been a lot more than that. Part of it has just been, we've been just trying to keep our heads above water and getting it all done, so I haven't had a chance to shoot more footage or get more stuff done. Clearly you can see most of those shots were from like 2 months ago. But I just wanted to just kind of let you guys know how it's been affecting me as a church audio tech, but then also want to know how you guys are doing. I know a lot of church audio techs had to figure out online church from scratch within like a week or two because you didn't have an online church. All of a sudden you had to get it done in like a week or two, and even your pastors might have even not wanted it in the past, and all of a sudden now they need it, and it's all of a sudden all on you. Some of you don't even, of course, get paid for any of this. It's all strictly voluntary. You probably put in 40, 60 or more hour weeks of your own time. So just God honors that. God sees that. That's going to be a blessing to the kingdom. Even if you didn't get appreciated by people, God sees you and appreciates it. This truly is, I think, going to still be an incredible move of God. And I think there's going to be people who are seeking for those real things during this hard time. And it has been a hard time. You know, for me, I've had a couple of really hard days here and there, and really discouraged at times. But then I really remember what God is moving, He's doing, He's using this. It doesn't make it any easier, but it does make it worthwhile and have purpose and mission. You know, we don't know how this is all going to go down. We don't know how this is all going to end, but God does. And He sees you. He knows what you're doing as a tech. And so I would love for you to comment how this has gone for you. Love for you to add how you felt about this thing. If any way I can encourage or pray for you, I'll try. You know, I've already been praying for you guys. I remember when this thing broke out, I was so praying for the people who weren't ready for this. We already had online church, so we were able to just go with it and add to it, and that was great. But it was still a lot of extra shooting had to get done, as you've seen through this. But anyway, I just want to encourage you guys to keep the faith on this adventure God has us on, to stay strong, stay close to Him. He is the source. He's the reason why we live, and we need to just keep going after Him, honor Him, and as we serve, to make sure we're not just serving God, but we're also connecting with Him individually and personally on a regular and even daily basis. So take care, you guys. Love to hear how it's gone for you, and that's just a little taste how it's gone for me. God bless.